In today's video, I'm going to do a review of TrendSpider. This is a charting software that I've been using off and on and in a blend with TradingView for a while, but they've been really working hard on TrendSpider, and I actually did not renew my TradingView subscription a couple of months ago, and I've been using TrendSpider as my primary charting tool for those last couple of months, and I've really been enjoying it. They just released some stuff that made me ready to make this video, and maybe it's despite my vanity, but I really wanted that ability to control a custom background color on the chart, mostly for the sake of sharing. It was plenty flexible and nice looking for what I wanted to do in the app, but for sharing charts, I wanted to be able to fully brand it. Nevertheless, that aside, I'm going to walk through today some of the things I like about TrendSpider. There'll be a few things where I'll mention that I think they could still improve. Overall, I think this is a really great charting application for using with crypto and legacy markets both. And there are a few things that really stand out about it that make it an app that I want to use as my primary charting tool. Spoiler alert, the big things are alerts and watch lists, some other stuff too that may make you want to make the switch relative to TradingView or other applications, but those are the two big ones for me. That said, we'll walk through the app, kind of its primary features and some of the comparisons to TradingView or other apps that you may use. But I like TrendSpider. I am using it exclusively right now on the desktop, and I'll explain that in a bit too. Just as a couple of notes, I have a relationship with the people that created TrendSpider purely because they reached out to me, wanted to talk to me, and get my feedback on the app. They do not pay me, have never paid me for any kind of review or promotion. What they did do is they gave me a free account to try and play with, and they gave me an affiliate ID so that if you sign up using my link for TrendSpider, then I do get an affiliate kickback for your sign-up purchase. If you go to ledgerstatus.com/TrendSpider, that is that affiliate link, and it's also in the description below. If you decide to use TrendSpider because you enjoyed my review, then I'd be thankful for that, but it's obviously your choice and not necessary. So with all that said, all our disclaimers out the window, let's dig into TrendSpider itself. And I want to start by just giving you an overlay of the platform. So I've got kind of my own color scheme built into this. I'm using the dark color scheme. Out of the box, you can choose dark, light, or good old days is like this blue that I don't want to pain you with, but it's kind of a fun thing that they put in there. So I use the dark color scheme. This is after you've signed up from the TrendSpider website. Just click free trial. You get a 7-day free trial. If you don't like it, you can go back to whatever else you were using. And once you get in there, you can create a workspace. So this is my primary workspace. I really only use the one workspace, but if you have two maybe different brands that you want to chart with, or you have two totally different kind of arenas that you're charting with, and you have custom settings that you want to use for each of them, you can set all that up in a different workspace, which can make it more convenient to do stuff. So you have your profile information over here where you can do all your normal stuff, check out their documentation. They have a hotkey guide, which is nice if you're a keyboard warrior. Take a tour, switch your workspace to your other one, and manage your account settings. So this looks like many other charting applications. When you're here, you've got your watch lists on the right. You've got alerts down here below. This is really one of the standout features, what got me excited about TrendSpider in the first place. You can type in a ticker up here, or you can select it from the list over in your watch lists. You can select from your watch lists here. This is another place that gets me really excited about this tool. And then you have drawing tools over here, so you can pick up and do whatever you want to do with those drawing tools all over the place. So and then from any of these drawings, you can do things like create an alert or whatever. So that's kind of the basic view. This should look familiar to anyone that's used to charting with anything. So let's talk about some of the stuff that's not so basic or straightforward. And we'll start up here and we'll kind of work our way right. That's where they keep some of their primary features. You can select whether you want to show one chart, two charts, four charts. And when you do that, it's going to pop up with the same ticker that you just picked, and then you can change the one chart to a different time frame or something like that. This gets me into one of the first things that I don't love, which is if you switch what you're looking at, it changes all four views. It keeps everything else. So you can look at Bitcoin. I've got the BitMEX perpetual swap. You can look at it on the 4 hour, the daily, the 5 minute, and the, let's say, 1 hour. And then you can customize what you're showing on each one. All that is great. So maybe I want to look at the 5 minute chart with like a VWAP or something, but I want to keep the others with moving averages or whatever else. That's great. I'd like to be able to put different products on each of those charts. That's not something they support right now. But if you are hyper-focused on a single ticker, you can look at it in a really advanced view with the multi-chart feature there. Then one of their big standout things they have is the multi-timeframe analysis. And when you do that, what you do is you get to see your indicators in more than one time frame. So I'm looking at a 4 hour chart right here, but let me first go to the daily chart. And let's say I want to also show the weekly chart so that I can see some key levels. Now what it did here is it just popped up all the drawings that I have hidden. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to turn off all of the ones that I am not using in the daily right now. And yep, and I'm going to turn off my RSI here. All right, so now we have the daily and the weekly 20 SMA and 200 SMA. Those of you who followed my charts for a while, you know this white line is my 20 SMA on the daily, and the white dotted line is the weekly 20 SMA. And then you have the 200-day moving average here and the 200-week moving average here. I love this because I actually had to build out a custom indicator in TradingView to accomplish this same thing, where I was showing a simple moving average on different time frames. And what this allows me to do is just compare these time frames and visually see what's what right here in the default app. So if I want to drill down, and I can do this on any time frame, maybe I want to look at the low time frame on the 30-minute, and then I want to do the have that comparison to the daily, and there you go, you've got it right there. So now I can turn whichever of these indicators that I want on each of those time frames. This is just a really powerful and really useful feature that you can use in your charting tools, and I really, really like it. So let's go back to a daily chart for Bitcoin here, and what I want to do now is show you their auto fib tool. So this is Fibonacci, and you don't have to go grab the fib tool from the drawing toolbar and pick all your points. You can just turn on auto fib and it'll go ahead and automatically establish a Fibonacci drawing here from a previous high and a previous low, and then set up your extensions. So now you can see this 1.618 extension from the daily time frame would be around 14K, and all your levels in between. So if you just want to do a quick glance of, hey, what are the fibs on this or that ticker, it automatically detects your prior highs, prior lows, and gives you fibs to work with. And then of course you can draw them yourself if you want. But for my purposes, when I just want to get a glance at what those fibs are, I really like being able to do that. And that's kind of indicative of what TrendSpider tries to do on a lot of tools, which is to take something that normally you'd have to spend some period of time and draw it out yourself, and they just do it for you. Another one that's really interesting. I don't use it a ton, but if you want to test your own analysis, sometimes I can find that it picks up stuff that I didn't, and that is auto trend lines. So you can see this scenario. Uh, it goes and it actually creates the trend lines for me algorithmically, plops them on the chart, and then it even shows me kind of the breakout points of that if you select that setting. So you can choose different things here. They have different algorithms that they use. So if you want to use an enhanced algorithm and you want to base it on wicks rather than the body, then you can do so. And then wham, you get different trend lines that it draws based on what you do. It starts to look a lot like some kind of loom lines and stuff to me. So personally, I like just putting it on the original. I think I tend typically towards the body, and then that creates some kind of standard trend lines that I want to take a look at. You may notice that some of these are a little warped, and that's because it's actually accounting for the fact that I'm in log mode. And if I turn off log mode, then it'll show me those linearly. I really enjoy that. They have a different take on log mode versus non-log mode than some other applications have. Indicators, you've been seeing them. That's what I'm using to put things like the 200-day moving average on here. And if I turn indicators back on, it plops them right back on, and you can see the full list of stuff that I have enabled. And I don't know how many indicators I can put on, but I can put as many as I want, and then I can hide them or show them as I like. I really like their setup for this. For the most part, for instance, I can go change what I want to do here from an appearance perspective or a length or whatever else. For instance, if I want to show these Donchian channels, I can't pronounce that. I can plop that on there real quick. So if I have like 5 or 6 tools that I regularly use, but I often want to hide them, I can just kind of keep them enabled, but then just don't show them, and then pop them on my chart whenever I want to see them. If there's one complaint I have about this, it's that it's a little bit difficult to view the way it's overlaid here. So kind of the presentation of them in that area is not my personal preference, but it's something I've gotten used to as I've worked more with the application. You have enormous amount of control with indicators. They have tons of them, and then you can see these are my active ones here, and I can control a lot of the colors and different things. So that's really nice. I'm going to, for instance, show you volume by price, and you can see there the volume by price. This would be like VPVR, whatever it is, the volume profile in TradingView, and that's included in your baseline plan. Now all their plans are paid, so I don't remember what level it is in TradingView. It's certainly not in the free plan, but that's a really neat tool. And while I've got that on there, I'm actually going to show you another kind of volume related tool. So I'm going to skip their pattern stuff for now, and I'm going to go straight to the heat maps, because I think their heat maps are really neat, because what it does is their heat maps show you price interest on the chart. So you can see here on this daily Bitcoin chart, it's essentially showing you where there's previous price interest, and there's actually ways that you can customize it. So I'm showing depth right now. This is on Ethereum. If you look on Bitcoin, you'll see this pop up after it calculates, and I think sometimes this can just give you some interest in terms of where is there a large gap in what you're looking at, and it can show you a different look than the volume by price, because that's strictly horizontal, whereas your heat map is based on a time basis as well. So it shows you kind of that historic price interest, but it also gives it a little bit better relationship to the timeline itself. So let's change to a horizontal heat map. And what this one does is, instead of kind of that overlay, this gives you these strong areas of interest and back to where they were really created, so where those areas of interest were established. So these are just useful volume analysis relative to price tools, and there's some choices that you have in terms of how you apply them. And then the trends one, I have to remember exactly what that's going to show me, but it gives you yet another kind of calculated look on this, and I can't remember. There it goes. Yeah, so this is another interesting one. So it's just, again, giving you choices in how you look. So you may connect with one versus the other of some of these tools. Personally, I like the horizontal ones because of the simplicity and where it puts it. And I also like that depth one because it shows me kind of a whole grid where there's some gaps potentially in a market to be able to find what's the path of least resistance. So that's a fun tool to play with. Now let's go back to our patterns, and these patterns are actually candle patterns. So I clicked the options over here, and what you can do is you can use some of their built-in ones, and you can also use patterns that other folks have made. So if I just turn these on, it'll show you a candle-based pattern, and it'll give you a little signature to describe exactly what you're looking at. And since I have quite a few set up, these are showing me the 5 that I have picked. But I can go here and I can, choose from a variety. For instance, I can use some that they've got a partnership with from the pattern site, and just pick through them however I like. You can also clear which ones that you have selected, and it'll turn them off, and you can start new. So you have a lot of flexibility here in what type of candlestick patterns that you want to look at. So if I just want to look at dojis, dragonfly and dojis, evening dojis, something like, let's just say that we're just kind of looking for those potential doji style patterns, then you can apply those and see where they may or may not pop up on your chart. So that's pretty cool. I like doing that every now and then if I want to get kind of an automation in terms of what I'm seeking there. So let's go to our alerts system. And this is one of my favorite things that they offer. And I want to turn some stuff off. I'm going to turn off my volume by price so that I can get a little bit cleaner of a chart here. I'm also going to show you real quick. You can click full screen anytime and get just kind of your full chart view. All right, so alerts, by far one of the slickest systems they have. And when I'm doing an alert, I can create an alert up here in the menu, and you can do it based on multiple things, or you can do it based on an indicator or a trend line. So it gives you instructions here to click on your trend line, your fib, your indicator, and create an alert based on it. So I want to create an alert based on the 200-day moving average. This is going to create the alert based on the 200-day moving average for this specific asset with this exchange. So this is BitMEX's daily chart on their perpetual contract. So I'm going to create alert at this line. I've removed my phone number so that you guys don't see it, but normally I could put my phone number here, or I'll show you the different ways to get these alerts. And what this does, you can see the highlighted line back here. This allows me to choose, do I want it to alert me when it breaks through, when it touches, or when it bounces off? So if it breaks through, it's going to pierce through. If it touches, it's any tap in this range. And then if it bounces, it's going to wait until it hits and confirms a bounce off. And then it'll alert you when that occurs. You can choose all of the above. You can choose any one, whichever you want. What's really cool is it doesn't require a perfect touch. So on this recent near tap of the 200-day that Bitcoin have, it would have caught this, and it did catch this, versus if you had it require to hit it perfectly, you might not have gotten the alert that Bitcoin was down there in the 200-day moving average. And you can adjust your sensitivity to your own preferences so that you can, have it tweaked so that if you're, for instance, doing this on the 20-day moving average, you may want it to be a little tighter. If you're doing it on the 200-day or the 200-week, for instance, you might want it to be a little looser to give you more space and more knowledge of when that's going to happen. For this one, let's say I just want to know, hey, when's it touch the 200-day moving average? That's an important level for me. And then we're on the 200-day, but now we're talking about the confirmation candles. For touch, that doesn't matter, but imagine if it's a bounce. If it's a bounce, you could say this is the 200-day moving average, but I want to know when the 1 hour chart is the one that bounces. So your bounce is based on the 1 hour bouncing off of it, not the daily, but your alert is based on the daily level. So that's an extreme amount of power for something like a bounce type alert. And this is customizable on any indicator or whatever you want to do, any drawing, anything that you choose. You can set a note, so you can say 200-day, max profit, whatever you're seeking, and then you can choose how long you want it to last. Their alerts right now, they enable 30 days or a certain number of times that it's triggered. So you can say if it triggers 4 times or 30 days, something like that. Now I'm going to create my alert and it will let me know. And then your alert will show up on that specific asset when you go back to it. So that's really, really powerful functionality in their alert system. And there's one more thing that I want to show you with regard to the alerts, and let's go dig into it. So if I go to the notifications, I can choose email, SMS, webhook. SMS is your phone number, so it'll text you. You can tell it, don't send me emails or SMS while I'm sleeping, and you can set that time. So that way, you don't want notifications at certain times. You can choose multiple of these that you want in terms of how you get those alerts. If you choose the text message, it'll text you whenever you say, unless you put that, notification to not send it to you. So be aware of that. One of the really cool ones is the webhook. So you can set up your alert, and then you can set up a webhook, and now you can send it kind of in any way you want. For instance, you can use any app that has webhook capability. Any of you people with familiarity of web development or whatever else, you'll know what webhooks are. A webhook is essentially a way for you to connect that trigger to anything else that accepts webhook style notifications. So you can use something like Zapier or IFT, for example, and then you can connect that alert to maybe a Slack notification or a Telegram notification, or anything that you put your mind to, like maybe a bot that you use, and you're kind of defining a custom strategy, and you say, hey, when this alert hits, I want to go buy Bitcoin because I had a push off the 200-day moving average. I don't want to miss that. So you have a lot of power and flexibility in what you do there, and that is a super cool feature that I like a lot. I love these alerts. Of course, you can go edit them as well. So I've got one over here on the Bitstamp chart with the Ichimoku cloud. So if I show you the Ichimoku cloud, let's turn some other stuff off. I've got an alert over here saying, hey, let me know when it hits the top of the cloud. You could set it on the Kijun, whatever you want. So over here you can see I've got it set to also show me when did my alert trigger. This triggered when it broke through the top of the cloud, which could have been your buy signal. And you can just manage these alerts from right in this window, which is great. All right, actually, while we're on the cloud here, I don't always use the Ichimoku cloud, but I do like it. One thing they have with the cloud is I can't quite customize the look and feel of it the way that I could in TradingView. So, I used to talk about when I would try to show people cloud stuff, hey, is the cloud red or green? Meaning this primary span A versus span B, which one's on top? Um, this you just put one color for the entire cloud background, so it doesn't change from a red cloud to a green cloud uh, in that scenario. But you can change all of the other settings as normal. So that's another thing that I wish that it gave me that flexibility. But you can change, all your lengths and everything else, your colors, your whatever else you want to have. And I have gotten used to this view. It's just not my preference because I'd like to be able to click on anything with Ichimoku Cloud and see really easily, is this a bullish cloud or a bearish cloud? The only way to see it here is to set this the actual span itself as either green or red or whatever indicator type system visually that you want to use. You can see here the Kijun, nice little potentially bearish setup we have on weekly shaping up there, so that's interesting. All right, so we're going to turn that off, and that is most of the stuff at the top. The next thing you have are your scripts. So TradingView has Pine script that you can write your own. The TrendSpider one is much more visual, and I do like it. It's it's interesting too because people can share their own, and you can search for different things. A lot of people do like Bollinger Band squeezes or interaction with a particular moving average or whatever else, and you can apply those to your chart. I wouldn't say that I've got it like perfect in terms of how to work with it, but you can choose these various conditions. So like 1 hour, and I can pick from indicators, and let's keep with this idea, simple moving average, and let's say price has bounced off of it. So that's my script condition. And then you can just kind of keep playing with it. Oh, and it's the buffer area. So let's say 0.01. And then you can add another one, whether it's an and or an or, and kind of eat your heart out. And then you can set these scripts to be used for screeners or alerts, kind of whatever you want to do there. So instead of me trying to dream up one of these while I'm trying to show you this, let's just say, okay, well, let's use whatever this person's script is, and let's send it either to an alert or you can set it to their strategy explorer, which is pretty cool. So this takes us to their strategy explorer, and you can test strategies. And you can do all of this visually. If you've ever played with these strategies in TradingView, they are quite tricky. But over here, you just take the script that you built visually, and then you can establish some kind of conditions over here. So right now, I've got a stop loss of more than 1%, or exit after 21 days with the trailing stop of 10%. So I don't know. I don't have any idea what this is going to return, but this is now showing me the results of my test and relative to the asset performance itself. And it's applying this strategy test to whatever time frame I've selected. So this performance of this particular test was absolutely horrendous, which is fine. we didn't know what to expect there. But you can, play with this on different time frames. You can adjust your strategy itself. You can do a lot of stuff to, continue to tweak and maybe get some ideas for the way you want to do some strategy in the future. And it's very powerful, very visual, takes some time to get used to still. You can also, for instance, you can say, you know what, I only want to see how did this perform, through like 2018. So you don't even get some of that stuff in the back where it's like everything went up back then. I want to see how's it performed in this particular uh, circumstance. So there's tons of power in that strategy tester and then what you can do with it. In that same vein, they have their market screener where you can set very similar uh, potential indicators. Show me everything that's had a Bollinger Band breakout or something like that, and you can show some very similar results. You can limit it to any of your watch lists so that you're screening just particular assets, etc. All right, before we go any further, I want to dig into the watch lists themselves because this is another one that's a fantastic relative feature that TradingView just doesn't have the way that I like it. You can set custom watch lists, and for instance, I've got this. Well, this is crypto futures, so we'll get to that in a second. But here's a crypto watch list that I made. So I can go in here, edit primary crypto, and then I can, search for some asset. And here's Tezos Binance, and I can apply it to my chart. And that's great. The other thing you can do, though, that is far and away better than TradingView is actually you can just automatically go look at something very specific. So type in Coinbase. This says Coinbase Pro GDAX all spot symbols. And now I'm instantly looking at everything that's on Coinbase. And I love this because if I want to keep a watch list for a specific exchange in TradingView, you have to manage that yourself. Here, I can just automatically go to everything Kraken has available or whoever else. So if I have funds on a specific exchange and I want to look at potential setups for that specific exchange, then I can do that. Moreover, let's say I want to look at Tezos across 25 exchanges. Now I can look at what Tezos is doing across everywhere that it's listed. So this is Tezos on Binance, and I can click on down and it's going to show me Tezos on OKX. So now I'm looking at one asset in a watch list and it shows it everywhere that it's listed. And the exchange support is really good on TrendSpider. So now I'm looking at everything that's on Bittrex. That is a feature that people that want to scan exchange-based watch lists, not many people have that, and it's really, really good. So you have a ton of power there. The other thing you have is legacy market watch lists that it automatically sets up. So if I just want to look at the NASDAQ 100, then boom, it's right there. Everything in the NASDAQ 100, or I can do industry-specific ones. So I want to go look at utilities. And this gives me all stocks that are utilities that I can automatically go and scan, which is really awesome. Top crypto futures, they go ahead and they select a futures markets that they think that you'll be interested in. And these are curated by their team, and it's really powerful, and it saves you a lot of time from watch list management, which is something that I personally have spent a ton of time on in TradingView, trying to curate and manage. So that's a great differentiating feature that I really like about TrendSpider. Now, I could dig into all of these drawing tools, but to be honest, if you are familiar with drawing tools in other applications, theirs are pretty similar. You'll feel right at home here. You can do the same stuff, clone, remove, change the properties, so like the colors and stuff. You'll feel right at home with this application. And one thing I do like is you can remove all annotations, so you can remove absolutely everything that you've drawn on a chart. I think all of us have probably, spent some time in our charting software, and then an hour later we're like, what the heck have I done? And then you go and delete, 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 delete. It takes forever. You can do all that in one go. Let's say I want to go full screen. Boom, go full screen, and now I can use this in a variety of ways. I've always taken my own screenshots of charts. One of the cool things that you can do here, and this is available to some degree in TradingView, but I like the way TrendSpider does it. I can take that screenshot, and now I can copy this straight to a new tab or wherever I want to use it, or I can download it. One of the things they do, though, when you share the link, it looks great. And it also, if you include your affiliate ID, it'll automatically establish your referral link to the people that click on that chart, so that if someone signs up for TrendSpider because they looked at the chart that you shared, then you can get an affiliate kickback. So yeah, they do have an affiliate program, and I don't remember what the percentage shared is, but it's not bad. It's certainly competitive. I think maybe, I don't remember what the percentage is, and I believe it's recurring as well. So that's nice, a nice bonus feature if that's something that you're into. All in all, I feel perfectly comfortable replacing TradingView with TrendSpider. I enjoy using TrendSpider. I find it to be a quality tool, and a couple of things about it, primarily the flexibility of the alerts and the thoroughness of the automated watch lists, but then a lot of those other features that I mentioned. I just think you get a lot of good stuff with TrendSpider, to the degree that I chose not to renew my TradingView subscription. Now, the one thing that I'm waiting on, and they intended for this to be a desktop app at first, so they weren't going to do a mobile app. They know we're all degenerates, and we want those mobile apps, so they are going to release a mobile app. They don't have one right now. They were hoping people would just say use those alerts so that they have the knowledge, but a lot of us, we just want to open up and see those watch lists and stuff on our phones. So they're going to come out with a mobile app. That's the one place where I do still use TradingView. Is I will just kind of keep a baseline watch list of like Bitcoin and a few other assets that I want to be able to see on my phone easily. But they'll have that soon enough. One of the things I love is they are so receptive to feedback. The founders will message you and kind of let you know what's going on. They're really attentive, and they want your input. And those of you who know TradingView, sometimes you don't really know if anyone's listening over there. So that's another thing that I like. All right, let's talk about cost before we go. TrendSpider is not cheap. These are their monthly plans. So for $47 a month or $550 a year, you do get a lot with that. First off, you do get a 7-day free trial, and you get indexes and futures with their elite plan, but not with their baseline plan. I wish you could get that, but it's just not really in the cards right now. But if you pay for their elite plan, then you can get legacy futures and stuff with that. And then otherwise, I don't personally find their plans to have significant limits. Backtesting is only in the elite and up plan. So if you really are into backtesting and like that visual view, then that's something that's really nice. And then the alert expiry, I showed you the 30-day alert expiry, but you get 14 days in their premium plan. So I think the bang for the buck really is in the elite plan, a couple $100 extra per year. These are competitive with TradingView. I think TradingView does more upsells once you start a plan. So maybe getting the first tier of paid plans is cheaper at TradingView, but it can add up, especially as you add particular like stock market futures that you want in your plans and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to say exactly what the TradingView plans cost, but I do think I was paying around $500 a year for TradingView, and what I get with the alerts and some other stuff here that saves me time, I find this to be worth it. But as I did note, they have comped me, at least for now, for using TrendSpider. All right, so that's my review of TrendSpider. I hope that you can take that and use it for helping you make a choice about whether you want to do a trial of TrendSpider, whether it seems worth it to you. One final note that I'd leave you with is TradingView sometimes would take over my computer. It was really hard to run it because it was so resource intensive, especially on a laptop. And I'm actually running this on the same laptop that I would use TradingView on. And I don't really run into any issues with this. It seems to be more performant, more friendly to the browser. And I haven't really run into performance-based issues trying to run TrendSpider. And then finally, you can pop your logo in there. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's nice too if you are like me and get over obsessive with the way your chart looks. And I was super happy when they allowed you to put in your own color schemes over here and change exactly what you wanted your background to be, because before it was just kind of light, dark, or blue for the background. You could change everything else, but now I can set this up to look exactly like the brand colors for my website and all that stuff. So if that's important to you, you have a great deal of control now for that, as well as pretty much everything else. I really am impressed with this app, and I think they'll be around for a long time. Like I said, they're really engaging. It's not perfect. Really looking forward to that mobile app whenever it's coming out, but they send updates out to the people that are following their Twitter and all that stuff to let you know how hard they're working and what all they're doing. If you're interested in TrendSpider, go to ledgerstatus.com/TrendSpider. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to check it out. Let me know if you've tried both and what you liked or didn't like about them. I know this was a little long, but it's, $500 to spend on charting software is it's not nothing. And I just wanted you to see what you can get out of TrendSpider. I do think they'll work hard to continue to add interesting features and products, and they are attentive to the crypto market, but also if you trade legacy, this is a great tool for legacy traders as well. Okay, that's it, and we'll catch you next time.